Hi, everyone. You know the routine. We're going to have a clicker going below. Probably not going to talk about the clicker a little too much. You just know that, we're still kind of where we were last week when we talked with inventory. Nothing's gone crazy. Nothing's changed. Maybe the calm before the storm, but let's talk about rates, right?
Well, overall, we had a great week for a lot of stuff. Like the data came out that the inflation actually went down. They thought it was going to be 2.9, went down to 2.5. So that's always good, but you got to remember that doesn't include food and energy. So I always find that kind of interesting that they do that. And then we also had a producer price index, which basically what it costs producers to produce things. That came in more expensive year over year, which is interesting. So that was kind of odd. And then finally, initial jobless claims. That was this week too. And that rose 2,000 more to 230,000. But, overall, it's like our continuing jobless claims, they're still at 1.85 million, which is still like one of the highest it's been in the last couple of years. But the unique thing about all this is it really helps mortgage rates. So it's like, you have some good news, some bad news. The good news is the inflation is coming to more in check. So that's always a positive. The other good news is we're wondering, is the Fed going to do the 50 basis point cut or is it going to do the 25? I'm going to tell you at this point, I think it's going to go with the 50 basis points because the economy is not as strong as it seems. And you really, as we go into fall, you really want to kick it up a notch and you really want to make things a little bit better. But overall, we're at the lowest point for mortgage rates in 15 months.
Yeah, so remember, guys, the market builds off, rates are built off of projections of what's going to happen with the Fed meeting, right? So it's going to be probably more so what's going to happen on the 17th if they basically knock it down 50 basis points, right? That what's going to probably happen next when they meet in December, right? You'll have the market probably adjust a little bit for it, but then it's going to be on what they're going to do next, probably the next couple of weeks for the following time the Fed meets, right? And this is December, correct?
Yeah, that's going to be late in December, more closer to January. But I'll tell you, I already think there's a 50 basis point rate cut built into the rates because mortgages actually adjust before the Fed moves. Yeah. And, if I would say, look at Vegas odds, that's a unique thing to look at. You wouldn't think so, but Vegas odds are pretty good for a lot of stuff in predictions. And you look at, we're at the lowest point we've had. If you talk to a good lender for a no point loan, they should be getting you realistically like 5.875 today on a conventional loan. APR add 0.125 to it. But then if you start looking at FHA, VA, oh my gosh, like, man, that's looking even more amazing. You're more down to 5.5 and maybe even getting lower. Once again, add an APR of 0.125. But overall, it's like if you're a first-time home buyer today and you're not VA, let's say you're FHA, you're going to get a smoking deal on the interest rate on the house this week. So if you're someone that's under contract already, you're close to pulling the trigger, you can get a really good deal on interest rates. Now, just make sure you talk to a couple of people because everyone's going to have a misprice right now because not everyone's adjusted and a lot of people have a lot more overhead. So you may see most lenders being a half a point higher than other ones. Some of them 0.75. So look around.
So I just showed a property today to one of my clients that was looking at basically starting the process in a year from now. Well, actually 6 months from now. But the community, the apartment or the condo community that they like, basically the properties are selling there in like the mid sixes.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some properties that are sitting that are in like the low sixes, right? So they're like, well, what's going on here? You're talking about close to about a 10% under where they just sold for a couple months ago. Is this something I should be worried about, scared about? Should I still think about buying in the community? Reality is, and we've talked about this on the platform, is that the divide between condos and houses is not as big as it was in the past, right? You can get some value in the houses, and usually in the housing market picks up faster than the condo market, right? Plus, you got to factor in basically umbrella insurance policies, maybe raising the HOA in the near future. And I kind of relate all this information, and they go, well, what about my scenario? I don't like the maintenance. I don't like dealing with all this kind of stuff. And I go, yeah, perfect. It's still good for you. I mean, it's still good for you. There's value in this market for condos and some townhomes, right? So understand, yeah, there is a little bit of lull to the market, but there's value in every market. So it's a matter of you got to figure out where that value is. And it's harder to find when we're talking about 2,200 properties on the market. We got 4,500 right now on the market. And you're seeing a lot.
Your term lull, you're very nice, because there's something out there. Some of y'all may want to Google this, but Forbes recently did an investigation by Atom, ATOMM, I believe it is. It's a data service management company. And you can probably see my latest video talk about this too, but that's not important. But they basically surveyed 39 million transactions. And they found, and they did those from like 2013 to like 2022. And then they crunched all the data, and they found there's one single month out of the entire year that has the lowest prices out of 39 million transactions. So guess what month that is?
I'm going to guess October.
That was a spooky good guess, my friend. It is October. So considering the message you just said, you could have just said, hey, let's look at Forbes and 39 million transactions that have closed. If you're looking for a deal, it's October. And that's also the month, I guess you go. Is November the mustache thing?
Yeah. November, right?
Okay. Well, October, it's sober October, I believe that's what it is. But October is going to be your best month to look for houses, to get a good deal, to get a good price. And right now, the interest rate deal, because of the volatility in the market, you're going to get a smoking good deal. And if you find a good deal in October, who cares in 7 months if the rates are lower? Because they're going to be.
Well, just imagine what's going to happen, right? You're talking about this, okay? Because I've heard it also more and more before. Okay, well, with inventory, well, not with inventory, but when the elections happen, right? After elections, I'll make a decision. And I actually had a long debate with someone talking about this, going, "Oh, what's going to happen after the elections?" And they're like, "Well, I so much uncertainty. I mean, the elections." I go, "Well, what's going to happen?" So what are you telling me? Are you going to do one thing if one side wins? Are you going to do the other thing if another side wins? What's going to happen? Man, I every time we hear elections, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go this. I'm going to go that. And then what happens? 6 months go by, and it's like, well, I'll probably figure something else out. I mean, I would just say there's a lot of uncertainty happening right there, and some people are just going to pick a date, a number, a month, January, whatever it is, right? But you have to look at your own micro market, right? Look at your situation, right? Know kind of what price you want to get.
Micro market. That's a good word. Did you just make that up?
No, it's a micro market, like, right? Like what you're particularly looking at. I mean, because if you look at basically what's happening in, I don't know, like Temecula or Idaho, I don't know, just random places, right? Or
Idaho has a great potato market, if you were wondering.
Right, but you got to know what your situation is, right? What kind of price are you looking to purchase? If you find a single family home tomorrow and the monthly payment is going to be X, right? Why are you waiting till basically January? Right.
That's an interesting thing you just mentioned, because I talked to a client about 4 days ago, and she said, hey, we're just going to wait 7 months till after the election, but this is the house we like. And I said, perfect. So I looked up that house, and if you went back 63 years to now, the average rate of appreciation, it was 5.7. And I said, perfect. So the house you're buying is 1.6 million. So basically it's going to be 80 more grand in 6-7 months. And she's like, oh, I didn't know that. I go, well, that's if we go off history. So, there's never a right time to buy. It's I guess if it's in your micro market, or if it's in your market that's best for you, then it's a good time. Otherwise, don't race to buy property, because I'm not smart enough to time the market. Warren Buffett's not. Vinnie, you may be, but I mean.
Well, I was talking this with some other buddies the other day where we're just like, it's so funny because you look at basically over the years and you go, oh my gosh, this property's overpriced. And then what happens? A couple years go by. Oh man, it's overpriced. And there are people in 2007 and 2008, right, or actually probably 2006 and 7 and that kind of stuff. We're like, oh, okay, this is overpriced. And what happened? In the end, the market went down. But you got to think there was a lot of shaky loans happening out there, right? There's a lot of shaky loans that were happening right there. And those people that basically bought in 2006, 2007, if they would have held on to now, which I know you're talking about basically what 18 years, right? Or 17 years.
Oh my gosh,
the values are higher now,
skyrocketed.
right? I mean, like if you can hold on for 10 years, I mean, that's historically the property's gonna be worth more than it was before. Okay,
Yep.
Last words. What who do you think's gonna win the
Super
the
Bowl?
game tomorrow?
Dolphins.
You think the Dolphins are gonna win?
Dolphins gonna win the Super Bowl for sure.
Oh man, any other predictions you want to say?
We're